friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So we are going to continue our discussion on the lines. A quick recap of what we have studied about the lines. So what does the line represent? So first of all, you need to understand the archetype personality. How we get to know by looking at someone's palm what remains to be this person's archetype personality. That we get to know by studying the mounts. So what are the mounts in palmistry? Mounts are these puff portion at the bottom of the fingers and at the bottom of the palm as well. So let's say this is the mount of Venus. If you'll find this to be prominent in someone's palm, you'll get to know that this person has a natural inclination towards art and beauty. Let's say if you'll find this mount of Mercury to be very prominent, and you'll find an individual to be a Mercurian archetype, so that person would remain to be too much inclined towards business and too much towards finances. Same way when it comes to checking the events of the life, doing the prediction, doing the analysis when certain events are going to manifest and happen in someone's life. So for that particular aspect, we need to study and scrutinize the lines marked in the palm. So now the next question in the discussion is how these lines get formed in palm. So lines in palm get formed due to three reasons. First remains to be the soul. Like the way it has been believed in spirituality that the soul never dies, it carries the account of the past life deeds. Second remains to be the genes, the chromosomes, and what has been believed that we inherit the traits from our parents and from our ancestors, so the heredity. And third remains to be the fetal environment, the kind of environment which a mother gets during the time of the conception. So those remains to be the three reasons for the formation of the lines. And how these lines get judged, what are the benchmark, the parameters on which these line gets judged. So in order to scrutinize any line, these line gets judged on four principles. First remains to be from where the line is originating. Second is where the line is terminating. Third is the presence of any special signs or symbols on that line. And last is any forks or branches present on that line. So we have studied all of that in the past videos. Now coming to this line in particular. So what is line of Saturn? So you need to understand that line of Saturn is also known as line of fate, line of destiny, line of wealth, line of security. In a nutshell, line of Saturn, the chief attributes assigned to the line of Saturn are: first, it tells about your capacity to earn money, the kind of bank balance which you would accumulate, the money which you would amass, the kind of much number of properties which you will attain in this life, how much is your capacity to shoulder responsibilities and how you carry out those responsibilities, the degree of control which you exert in your life, how you use your talents. So all that things get seen from the line of Saturn. You need to understand that this line is so important that this line gets checked simultaneously with all the lines marked in the palm. So this is the kind of magnitude of significance which this line holds. So let's say the line of heart, which tells about the matters of the heart, the emotions. But when it comes to checking the arrival of your loving mate or the happening of the marriage, you need to check the condition of the fate line as well. So this is our fate line. So let's say when it comes to checking someone's mentality and concentration, you need to check the condition of the headline. But along with that, you need to, if you want to check how determined, how focused an individual is, so along with the headline, you also need to check the condition of the fate line. Same ways, the major events of the life along with the lifeline also get checked from the fate line. So this is the kind of significance which fate line holds in palmistry. The presence of fate line, how can we get how the line of Saturn can be spotted on the palm? So first of all, there is no restriction that there can only be one line of Saturn present in the palm. There can be as many as 3-4 line of Saturns present on the palm. The only condition is that whichsoever line is moving towards the middle finger, the mount of Saturn, that line would be known as the line of Saturn. So a line of Saturn can also originate from here. This is our mount of outer Mars. So here, line of Saturn can also originate from the lifeline. Line of Saturn can also originate from the mount of Moon or the mount of Luna. So this is how line of Saturn gets spotted on the palm. So this is about the introduction part of the line of Saturn. Now coming to the next part of the discussion, which is the connection of line of Saturn with mythology and astrology. So like the way it has been mentioned in the title only, the line of Saturn, this line is associated with the planet Saturn. So when it comes to the mythological connection of the planet Saturn. So you must have seen in too much of the books or the depiction of planet Saturn, the Roman god Saturn, which also goes by the same name, where a father is eating up its own children. So this is the kind of depiction which has been portrayed, that time devours everything. So this is what Saturn represents, and same is the case with its astrological connection. So first of all, palmistry and astrology goes hand in hand. When it comes to astrology, the placement of the planet Saturn in whichsoever house it is present in your astrological chart, that just tells about all those areas and signification where you get tested repeatedly in this life. So let's say the 5th house, which tells about your children, which is the house of children in astrology. So if planet Saturn is placed over there, so your terms and your dealings with children will get tested in this lifetime. Same is the way the 3rd house, which is the house of siblings. So a placement of planet Saturn in the 3rd house is just, it tells about the terms and your dealings with your siblings will get tested in this lifetime. So same way, the planet Saturn, which is the lord of karma, it just, and what does the karma mean? Karma means the kind of lessons and the which soul is bound to learn in this life. So those lessons tend to happen in the form of challenges, circumstances and situations which gets brought by the line of Saturn. So this is the mythological and astrological connection of the line of Saturn. So the next concept is what the line of Saturn reveals. So like the way I have told you people, line of Saturn tells about the level of security, the kind of capacity we have to amass wealth in this lifetime. The most productive years of our life get seen from the line of Saturn. So, and when it comes to wealth, it is a very subjective concept. So someone who might be very rich and someone who might be very wealthy, but that person might not be that contented with his state of wealth, and there might be another person who is living in a very humble condition, but that person might be living in a full of contentment and satisfaction. So this just varies from an individual to individual, but in a nutshell, line of Saturn reveals our capacity to attain wealth and the level of satisfaction, level of security which we feel, that all gets seen from the line of Saturn. The next concept is it the line of fate? Because many times people get confused because of the terminology used. So because of that is the only reason why I have labeled it as line of Saturn. So many times this question arises when people ask whether the fate is predetermined or not. So I can just only give a valid explanation to this, is that fate is very fluid. What is the way it can be seen as that, when it comes to fate versus free will, so you can understand this in a way that fate is going to do, the destiny is going to do its part in the form of infusing a thought in particular direction. So the thought of committing a crime is something which is destiny is going to bring in the form of different circumstances in your life, but whether to act into that thought or not is always remain to be into the domain of free will. So there is always a free will. There can be no certain case that destiny is written in stone. So we all create our destiny by our own efforts. That is the only reason palmistry is the only science which proves that we create our own fate. These all lines are subjected to change to our thought process, to our attitude, and with the change in our lifestyle. So with the change in with the positive changes in our lifestyle, doing meditation, embracing good deeds, good humanitarian deeds, all the broken lines in the palm can be mended, break in the lines can be again reformed, and all the defects can be improved. So palmistry is the only science which tells that we create our own fate. There is nothing such a term as destiny written in stone. So this is about the line of fate. Next in the discussion is how to age the lines, because this concept is very important. Like the way prediction happens in astrology via the use of the time, astrological and planetary time period which an individual is running. Same way when it comes to doing the analysis and doing the prediction in palmistry, what we do is we age the lines and we check the condition of the line at that particular time of the age. So let's say if someone who is 35 years of age and has come to you for the consultation, so you need to check the condition of the major lines at that particular age in order to get an idea what exactly is happening in this person's life. So whether can this person expect expansion in business, or buying a new home, a promotion in salary, or all the inauspicious events like demotion, divorce. So all those things get seen by mapping the lines accurately. So the kind of time tested and the kind of most accurate aging concepts which has been which I have found through in my own research, I'm going to tell you that. So the first is the Kiros 7 principle, which gets applied everywhere. So what exactly is that? So what we need to do is, we need to first, the whole fight comes down to, so like the way this is our line of Saturn, and the whole fight comes down to finding a central point on the mount of the Venus. So let's say this is the central point on the mount of the Venus. So what we have to do is, first we have to draw a straight line to the end of the palm. First line goes here. Second line we have to draw in the straight line from that central point on the mount of the Venus. So this is the second line. Third line would go towards the outer edge of the bottom of the little finger. Fourth would go here, and fifth will go here. So how we are going to age the lines is that this time where this line is cutting the line of Saturn, this age would be 35 years of age here. Same ways the next is here, this point would remain to be 28 years of age. This point is 21 years of age. This point is 42 years of age on the line of Saturn, and this age is 56 years of age on the line of Saturn. So this is the concept which has been given by the Kiro, which majority of the palmists across the world uses for their prediction. So that's the one. And second is, which I have seen in my own research, is that see, what I have seen true in my own research is that I kind of take the time where the line of Saturn is cutting the headline. I take this year as 30 years of age, and the time where the line of Saturn is cutting the heart line, I take that age as 45 years of age. And there can be another way, is that you draw a straight line from this point to this point and take the mid age as a 35 years of age. So there are so many varying concepts, though the Kiros 7 principle remains to be most accurate. It's just like that I'm here to give you all the mode of variations which has been used across the world. So what is the reason which I can give you for this marking is that 30 remains to be a very crucial age when it comes to in correlation with the planet Saturn, because even if you people know the astrology, that Saturn, wheresoever it is placed in the whichsoever zodiac sign it is placed in your astrological chart, it just remains in one particular zodiac sign for 2.5 years of time. And let's say the time when it covers all the 12 zodiac signs and reaches back to its original zodiac sign, that remains to be the time of Saturn return, which happens somewhere around 29 to 30 years of age. And that is the time when people get majority of the karmic lessons of the life, what they are going to born to do in their life. So those kind of karmic lessons, the realization, and in astrology we say that a person gets matured only when the Saturn return has happened. So the 29 to 30 years of age is very important in correlation with planet Saturn. And same ways 45 years age is the time when, see, one is the 29 to 30 years of age when Saturn return has happened. Saturn has covered all the 12 zodiac signs and come back to the original zodiac sign where it was placed at the time of the birth. Now the again 1/2 cycle, so 1.5 years of one complete cycle and another half cycle. So 1.5 cycle of Saturn is the around 45 years of the age, and that is the time when an individual goes through the midlife crisis, when people just start making that introspection of their life, whether they are following their inner calling, whether they're in the right job or not, or whatsoever they feel good, they tend to start doing those things. So 30 and 45 is the very crucial age in an individual's life. 30 is the time when we get mature. This is the time when the line of Saturn cuts the headline, and 45 is the age when midlife crisis happens, and we tend to give proper care and attention to whatever heart desires in this life, and this is the time which can be mapped as 45 years of age. So this can also one more aspect of the palmistry of marking the lines. So I hope I made myself very clear in this video. For further more updates and notification on palmistry, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.